We are back once again for another episode of your favorite political podcast, Where the Party At. I'm your host, Sava Long.
And I'm Eldridge Washington, and this is where the party's at. What's up, Saba?
What's happening? I feel like it's been a while.
I was just about to say that off camera. I feel like it's been a minute since we've been on the pod. But
yeah, because we're taping on a day that we don't usually tape.
Exactly.
So that's part of it. Yeah, so we usually tape on Monday, record or publish on Tuesday.
Correct.
Instead, we're taping on Friday. And we're continuing a conversation from our last episode, which was a hot topic.
Yeah, man. So for those that haven't watched our last episode, go back and watch it. We interviewed a member of Swarm, and we were talking about a very hot topic, specifically in the NPU-V unit of Atlanta. If you don't know what that is Southwest Atlanta. Neighborhoods including Mechanicsville, Pittsburgh, Summerhill, Adair Park, and Peoplestown and Gateway Capital. Is it Gateway Capital? Gateway Capital?
I don't know. Is Capital View?
Capital Gateway. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I knew it was something because he tried to correct me on the. I knew I wasn't wrong.
I did catch that.
I know my neighborhood. But yeah, so this is a conversation we've been having, and it got a lot of attention online.
It did.
And I believe every story deserves to hear both sides.
Yeah.
And
So the day that we recorded that episode, the last episode, and that was with Brendan, who represents Swarm, which is Southwest Atlanta Residents Mobilize.
Yeah.
That's what Swarm stands for. That day, the city council utility or zoning committee rather decided to hold the legislation. And again, we're talking about a piece of property on Ralph David Abernathy. If you go back and look at the last episode, shut up. If you go back and look at the last episode, you'll see just at the very beginning, we break down the project, kind of what's the controversy, what's the big deal.
Yeah.
So we're not going to rehash it. Just go back and watch the old one. So that day, the city zoning committee voted to hold the legislation. Council is on recess until August 3rd.
Yeah.
And so this will go back to zoning in basically about almost 2.5 weeks time.
Correct.
And so we'll see what happens then. Maybe some developments have occurred while council has been on recess. I'm not sure. But if we can also just show real quick, there was an article, and we'll put this in the show notes, from Capital B Atlanta that talks about kind of where things stand right now. So as we mentioned, it's on hold, but delay doesn't mean denial. We'll see exactly what occurs over the next couple of weeks and what council decides to do.
Perfect. So today, to talk about the, I guess you could say pro side of the conversation is someone I've been knowing for a while because I live in NPU-V. This is someone who is a Mechanicsville, not only resident, but a Mechanicsville leader, currently leading the Mechanicsville neighborhood, correct?
That's right.
Neighborhood Association.
Yeah, living there. And I believe have served on the NPU-V board.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so that being said, someone who's always in the community, always doing his thing. Also, recently learned IT professional from OpEd and AGC. So give it up for our guest, David Holder.
All right.
Hey.
Thank you.
What's up, David?
All right. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you for being here today.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, so I feel like I got to adjust. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Like, everything all right?
Yeah.
Are you okay? We dive right in?
Oh, go right ahead.
Okay, so you are you lead your neighborhood association, is that
Yes,
right?
that's true.
And you were previously on your NPU board.
Yes.
Talk to me just a little bit about being a neighborhood association president, particularly in the middle of a complex conversation.
Yeah. I've been the Mechanicsville leader off and on for almost 20 years, 18 to 20 years. So
Since I've been around.
Yeah. So, I mean, issues like this isn't the first time I've been at the rodeo. I mean, there's other issues too that NPU-V has faced. I have learned to stick with the facts and just kind of go with the facts and just, and not let anybody else persuade me on how I feel about issues ongoing in the community. There's been so many times in the community, I'm still your friend at the end of the day. if we're friends. But if I disagree with you, I'm going to disagree with you.
Gotcha.
It's not personal.
It's not personal.
So if you had to give just a quick hit on what exactly is being built right here in RDA, we gave
Essentially.
yeah,
Yeah.
essentially what is it? We gave what is it? I'm sorry, I keep forgetting his name. Brendan. Brendan. I want to say Brandon, but it's
Yeah,
Brendan.
Yeah.
Brendan, we gave him an opportunity to say what it is in just a nutshell. So I would love for you to do the same thing for the people listening.
Yeah, I would say it's not a hyperscale data center. It's going to be a colo, meaning it's going to be like a low performing data center. In addition to that, there's going to be what the proposal is by the developer too is to put some shops in the area for opportunity for restaurants and things like that. Also, it'll be an opportunity to get some people in our communities to work in the beginning, and hopefully partnership with the schools that I've been working with them on to partnership with the schools to start doing some internships so that people in our community, particularly Black and brown kids in our community, to get these certifications where they can make decent amount of money.
If you could go back to the beginning, you said it's not a hyper, it's a high low. A lot of us, myself included, don't know what none of this means. All I know is I hear the boogeyman stories of what data centers are.
Yeah.
So, like, what's the difference in how can we prove? Because somebody said it's hyper, you saying it's high low. How do we prove the difference?
Well, you'll see the difference. I mean, one of the things too that they're planning to do that I've been doing research on, because I've been doing this probably almost 30 years. I've been doing this since I was 19 years old. One of the things you'll see too is that it's not going to consume water on a daily basis. I mean, the water will be trucked in from some county that may have too much water. It'll be just like,
Is there such a thing as having too much water?
oh, too much water?
Yeah. When we're a state that has been in drought.
Yeah, but if you look at it, I would say if you look at it, the water could come in from Georgia. I mean, it could come from another state. It'll be brought in just like a gas truck bring gas into the gas station. So it'll bring it to...
So it's not connected to Atlanta watershed?
Oh, no, absolutely not. So it'll be filled just like your radiator in your car or your air conditioner at your home. It will require some maintenance over the years. Someone will need to be checking it to make sure there's no leakage and things like that. But it's not something that's constantly, I mean, you hear on the news, I was reading some story and someone painted one of the data centers as this monster, and it just drained all their water in the town, and it just took everything. But the only thing that this data center is going to be utilizing is just water to, wash your hands and use the restroom. The water that'll be coming in would just be as much water as you pull in the pool in your home. So, and that water probably could stay in there 8 to 10 years. Just depends on how the maintenance goes on there.
You're an IT professional, correct? So
absolutely.
So you work with data centers and stuff?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
can you just give us a little bit of your background so that folks can understand
Okay.
why you're qualified to talk about it?
Yeah, I started as a help desk person many years ago, right out of high school. Worked for a company called Klipsch Audio in Indianapolis, Indiana, and the owner of that company kind of taught me the ropes of what IT was, because I was there when data centers were in your closets at the building. So data centers have always been in existence for like 80 years. After that, I gained my experience, moved to Atlanta, opened up my own business, did some consulting work for some big name companies in Atlanta with the data centers and things like that. And recently, one of the biggest contracts I had was over at Delta, where I dealt with a lot of the data centers throughout the United States. Since then, I've gotten an opportunity to touch almost every facet of IT. Now we're coming in a new realm where AI is coming into the picture. So now I'm being able to, wrap my hands around that as well from a cybersecurity perspective. I did once I got here, I did finish my schooling. I got my bachelor's and my master's, my undergrads in IT, my master's of business management, and I have a doctoral degree in business with a focus in information technology.
Dr. Holder, I apologize.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Put some respect on my name.
Exactly.
So question, are the stories, I know you said this is not one of those, But are the stories real about data centers draining town water? Is that a real thing?
Some of the propaganda that's put out there, it's like, I mean, I'll give you an example. You know, people make bad stories about going to China. You know, don't go to China. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. You know, we have a political figure in office. I went there. I was nervous. I went there. My perspective was totally different from everyone else. So the stories that they're putting out there, I've seen people say the water is draining the town. I hear people are saying that there's some pollutions in the area. I've been in data centers. You know, I heard some people say, hey, if you in these data centers for so long, you end up being crazy. I mean, I've been doing this almost 30 years. I think I'm a fine person at the end of the day. So,
But the scale of data centers today is very different. I mean, what you already alluded to is very different from 30 years ago, right? We're talking about gigantic factories, essentially, right? The size of a factory, but it's a data center. So is it maybe too soon to tell?
well, I mean, if you look at, I mean, you can go back to the Bell South days. I mean, those were massive, right? I mean, you had probably your grandparents or your great grandparents sitting in this data center and just moving people to call different people, and those were data centers, and they ran these big, huge machines, these big IBM machines in there. I don't. The only thing that I think that people, I think people are finally realizing, you know, they hear data centers, they hear AI, and they're starting to freak out. But, you know, I tell a lot of people a lot of times, there were people I took in the community, you know, on a data center tour just to look at it. And they didn't realize that the data center has already existed.
Are you talking about the ones downtown, like Marietta Street?
Marietta
Can you
Street.
talk about those and what kind of?
Those are Digital Realty, all data centers as well, right?
Yeah, those are Digital Realty data center too. And you won't even know that they're there. I mean, I can point out a data center because I've been.
You're in
know,
the business.
I'm in the business because a lot of times if you ride past a building, they don't have windows on the side and
Right.
things like that. That's a kind of a given. You look inside,
People
you
think
see
this is a
security.
data center.
It could be.
There's a big one on the
Yeah.
west side that
Yeah,
you definitely know it's a data center because it's to your point, a gigantic building with no windows.
yeah.
It sort
I
of
can't
looks
think of
ominous.
the name of that over by the jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, over by the food pantry. Yeah, I've been in that one a couple of times, and they're pretty well known throughout the country. So.
But it sounds like you're saying you think it's overblown. You think the concern about data centers with respect to pollution, with respect to water, is all overblown.
Exactly. I think so.
Everywhere or just in Atlanta?
I think just reading, I mean, I was reading something this morning and I was reading some pros and cons. I think Trump had signed some executive order, and I think Kemp signed onto it saying that they will keep the rates low.
Oh, this
for
was
some.
the thing with Georgia Power. I just saw that clip. So
I
the
missed
CEO of Georgia Power, I just saw it literally on the way over here. The CEO of Georgia Power was speaking at some roundtable, I guess, at the White House. And he referenced Kemp, and then he obviously referenced Trump, and he was talking about data around utility usage.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I was just kind of cruising through, and I just kind of did like a summary, just like on ChatGPT. I mean, you have people that's been in the field long enough to know what the pros are, and you have people that just new to it, and they just make it, you know. I think if
But they can't. They're not. Certainly, they're not making up that something's going on with the water. Like, I can't imagine that people are just fundamentally making up. Oh, something's wrong with our water. Or something's wrong with pollution.
Or even less deeper than that, what are the cons to data centers?
I would, oh God. So some of the cons, or a couple cons I would look at would be, like you mentioned, some of the older data centers, right? That's been around maybe, I wouldn't say anything over 20 years old, maybe 15 to 20 years old. I mean, there is some loud noise that you hear, but I'm used to it. It's no worse than the train coming through the neighborhood that I have to listen to.
So the same question that we asked Brendan,
Yeah,
would you live next door to a data center?
I would.
Okay.
I would.
Okay.
Yeah,
A new data center.
a new data center. I would even live next to an old one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's another con? So noise. Is there another con that
I would
comes
say
to mind?
noise.
Data
Speaking of
center.
train.
Yeah, train.
Bro, this train is horrible, bro.
Yeah, I've gotten.
Norfolk
It is,
Southern,
yeah.
they're horrible. They treat Pittsburgh horrible. I just want to say that.
Yeah, I've gotten used to it over the years.
I have too, but
Yeah.
it's still horrible. It's very inconvenient and having to. They just park it here. I don't care
That's
about
the-
it leaving.
That's
Yeah.
the part
The
that annoys
parking.
me. Is the parking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
they just
in the
like-
middle of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Squirrel.
Slight tangent.
But yeah, noise. Any other?
I would say noise, and I hate the fact that one of the cons too, and you know, if you're around the data center and you're just sitting there, you're seeing that it may not be as much traffic if you're going into like a Microsoft or an IBM, people working in the office. But
So like land use. You mean?
yeah, well, like traffic in terms of people coming in and working. You may not have as many people coming in and working, but what people don't realize is that the people the janitors don't run the data centers, right? So you're gonna have to have people that, when companies move the servers in, they have to maintain these servers. So, and it would be like remote. They may have to come in every once in a while just to kind of like reboot the server, or maybe an error on the server, they have to get in and do some maintenance on it and whatnot. So I would say that's one of the cons too. I mean, if you're looking, if you're just kind of sitting at the data center, I heard some people over in another neighborhood, they said they took turns and sat in front of a data center, they didn't see much traffic. I mean, that's true, but I said, but then you have to look at too, I mean, people are not gonna move servers in a data center and just leave them there and nobody's working. So I think that's kind of a false statement. And one of the other, I think those are the only two things that I can think of. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, so.
Gotcha. So you would just say, would you, because I asked someone, I was talking to someone that's anti-data center, because I've been doing this, I will admit, this conversation, I've seen it online, but us doing it on the podcast has challenged me to dive deeper in what I feel, on where I stand on the fight. Because, I'm always going to jump in a fight. And my first question I asked myself, can I be anti-data center as pro-AI as I am?
That's true.
And that was a question I would ask, because I am very pro-AI. And from what I see, so I seen somebody put up some post, they were like, every prompt uses this much water. I was like, oh my goodness. I was just thinking about the flyer that it kept messing up and I kept reprompting.
Yeah.
So, this is causing me to do that. So I've been looking for the research of, these towns that are saying, it drained the water, and then I asked myself, is it a situation like the True commercials? You remember we were smoking everywhere, and then out of nowhere, the True came out with a little, a little commercial.
Okay. I was like, what is that?
You remember, and right after that campaign,
People stop smoking.
you didn't have no more, I was telling my nephews, I was like, you used to be able to go to restaurants and say smoking or non-smoking.
Yeah.
There's no smoking in restaurants, no smoke. You used to smoke on the airplane, and then because of this campaign, built off of all the data they found, they created. So my question is there going to be a true version of data centers 10, 15 years down the road?
Yeah.
That's what I was.
And I think for this particular location too, we have an opportunity to get it right. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can put in place prior to the data center coming on. I mean, like you said, we can make sure that they continuously use the closed water loop system. Make sure that that's in the deed when they sell it. We can look at opportunities to do solar, so that the generator is not generating if there's a catastrophe at the data center. I mean, we already know that it's not going to consume a lot of water because of the water that's going to be used. It's just going to be locally on a daily basis. I mean, so there's an opportunity to get a lot of this right, and I think this will be a model for Atlanta for future data centers. And one of the other things too, I just wanted to kind of point out too, is that if Marietta's hit, that's the main data center in the South, I think we're doomed when it comes to techs and E911 emergency and things like that. So I think it's a must-have. I mean, anything that we do with these things, putting information out there with your podcast, everything is running through that data center.
So I don't want to get too far in the conversation, so I'll hear
That's
your.
okay. Yeah,
Just
I
'cause-
have a question more about like scale.
Mm-hmm.
So this, I was looking at the cost for this data center is $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, give us some context. Is that a small amount? Is that large? Is that to be expected?
It just depends. I mean, I didn't look at the total amount, but I would say that's probably like like medium size. I mean, because they're gonna have to do some remediation, I think, on the property when I was looking at it. I'm not sure what
But
that.
that's like in the what, 10 to $20 million range, I believe.
Don't remember. Yeah, should be more than that for remediation. I think it was like maybe like 40 million or something like that. I've heard a couple of different numbers
Okay.
out there.
That's what
Yeah,
we
I
heard.
was I
We
was
been hearing
looking
different
at
ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of the sites I was looking at said it's about $1 million per acre.
Okay.
Still a lot.
Yeah.
But my question, because you just said something that I haven't heard before. You said we have a chance to do it right, and this could be the model going forward. Can you talk to? I know there's been a CBA on the table, and you've been in those conversations. Can you talk about one? How did it come about? Where it started and where it is right now?
Yeah, I think
Even
this. Oh,
sorry, if you don't mind, just even before that, how did you, I mean, obviously you're the neighborhood association president, but can you just, even from there, just like walk us through your journey in this conversation?
I kind of found out pretty late. I was traveling for work, and I saw the emails coming through. You know, you see emails coming through, but it didn't dawn on me. And then when a couple people called me from the neighborhood, it was like, hey, you know, we need your opinion or your expertise. And I was like, about what? So they told me about the data center. I was like, is that the emails that's going back and forth? I've been seeing them for a few months about the data center, particularly for some people in the Adair Park community. So when I found out, just to get caught up, because I know Mechanicsville will be impacted too, because we're right there in the borderline. I mean, we have GE Lost, it's like a block and a half over from the development. So there's a lot of pedestrian traffic and car traffic that would probably just go back and forth in and out the community. When I found that out, I talked to a couple people in Adair Park, sat down with them, and their response was, they asked me what I felt about the data center. I said, well, tell me where you are. I mean, what have you guys been discussing? Because I guess they've been discussing like CBAs and all this other stuff. And I said, I'm going to have to disagree with you on a couple of things, especially when they was talking about the consumption of water and things like that, and some of the pollution. I was like, this is an opportunity for us to get right. You know, I've traveled to countries, and I've helped, you know, get these data centers up and going. And the response I got from someone in particular was that I told him, I said, if a data center comes to the neighborhood, then people like myself or young people that's getting in the IT field will have an opportunity to work at one of those companies because they'll be able to just get up from their house and go to the data center if something's wrong. So what I've learned is when there's data centers around and companies like Kroger's, if you work for Kroger's or if you work for like, I don't know, Lenox Square, things like that, if they find out that you live in the neighborhood, they'll hire you first because you'll be the first person that can get to the data center. And I said that'll be an opportunity for people to move. I'm looking at the opportunities to in the community to train people so that they can be ready when these companies move in there. And the response I got was, well, then we'll have a bunch of white men. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of black folks in tech. You know, I was like, there's a lot of black folks in tech. And then my brain started like turning and things like that. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, if they're talking about CBAs, this would be an opportunity for them to partnership with the schools, train our kids, you know, through the 3 years, make sure they get their certifications, reach out to some of the kids that's going to college, make sure they have internship positions. And that's something we're working on right now in Mechanicsville. And I think Peoplestown, there's some kids that could do some internship positions and make pretty good money, you know, just for a few months. They're going to probably start it in the next month and just let them work through like December. So that they can get that experience. But I'm thinking
Digital Realty is?
Digital Realty, yes.
Even though the data center's not built,
Even though the data center's not built, yeah.
they just
Yeah.
work in other
Yeah, because
facilities.
when I looked, when I did my research and things like that, communities are starting to ask before they come over there as to, hey, give this community an opportunity to do some internships. So before you know, it's kind of like I know you want to come over here, but show us that you can employ and put an agreement
Put
together
some
with
skin
the
in the
schools.
game.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that, I guess, conversations around a community benefits agreement were already happening before you were aware.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then walk us through, you become aware, then what?
I became aware. I looked over the documents. I was like, hey, I think there's some things that's missing here. We need to make sure that the closed water loop system language is put in the document. We need to look at, if I'm hearing people are saying there's some environmental concerns, we need to, spell that out, if we need to look at doing some solar systems with backups to battery, and things like that. And I said, then there's an opportunity, another piece, to employ or get some of our black and brown kids in the community the training they need, that they can start off making jobs when they're 19 years old, making $70,000 to $80,000 as base pay with no degree. And then if they get a bonus, then they're in the six figures. Even if they don't stay with digital, they can go to other companies and show that because digital's a big company,
Yeah.
Right.
a well-known company throughout the whole world. And they have that on their resume for training and things like that. That's a ticket to get into any other major company.
So, and then you know this from your experience, because it sounds like that's what happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
You got an opportunity to go early. Talk to us about how the vibe, because when Brendan came on, he expressed, I don't know if you've seen the interview.
No, I didn't see it.
So he expressed there has been a divide. So, right.
Black and white, yeah.
So talk about that and how that has, how did it start? And how is there a way to get on middle ground, especially around the CBA?
Yeah, because I take it back to the NPU-V vote. I'm not sure if he was there. There were people, that was,
We talked about it
Yeah,
on
that-
the
I
last
wasn't there, though.
episode. I wasn't there.
that was a nightmare. It could have been a little bit more organized. I felt like there were people that were on Brandon's side that were slowing the progress to get people in. Because we know our culture, we're not going to stand too long, and we're not going to wait around for a vote. We'll give up and go back home. There were people that had attended NPU meeting, black people in particular. Their names wasn't on the roster for them to vote, and I was like, how is that possible? Luckily, I was able to have the city to do an open records request, and I'm like, okay, such and such is on this sheet, but why they not on the NPU-V sheet? And it became mayhem. And then Swarm, I'm going to say Swarm, they brought a lot of these people that's not an NPU. These are people, I've been over here 30 years, and I even talked to some people in Adair Park, and they told me these are people that don't live in Adair Park. So
Maybe West End, because I know they've been trying to bring West End in the fight.
West End, Westview.
Potentially.
Yeah.
So they are NPU-V residents, just not Adair Park residents?
Nah, NPU-V is not West End. 'Cause that's why on their CBA, they want to bring West End in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a part of NPU-V. That's what, according to
Okay.
Brendan on the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so it became this racial thing. There was an email a message that Brandon put on the Adair Park or some NPU thing that I got a snapshot of that someone sent to me, that he claimed that black people or marginalized people were brought in on buses to vote. We live in a democracy. Anybody can vote,
Well, we do that in elections,
Yeah.
period.
Exactly. So that right there, I think people that are black start thinking, okay, this has become a racial thing, because you have people on the other side who probably would have went with Brandon, but this became a racial thing more than anything. One of the things too that I explained to people too in the community is that, and this is an opportunity, like I said, for some of our kids to get the training and make good money. They didn't like that, but their park didn't like that, and probably know the reason why, don't want us to get too far ahead than them. So that's kind of what we've been dealing with. We did call Brandon out. I did see his message. He sent one to talk, but at this point, I don't want to talk. I just want to get this whole data center thing behind us, and then I can probably talk to him later, because I don't need any other distraction other than, let's get, let's be a model, and let's get some opportunities for NPU-V residents, some of the youth.
The CBA went from 5 to 10 million. How did that happen?
I think there was just some negotiation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the ultimate, if you had to lay out the ultimate CBA for you all, since y'all afford it and you want it, what does that look like?
You know what? The money doesn't really mean nothing to me. I'm looking at human capital, right? I mean, if we can invest the money into the neighborhood.
It is pouring right now.
Very important. Yeah.
Serious rain. Glad we're inside.
Yeah. If we can commit to training some of our youth every year to get these certifications, so that not only they just work in the data center, I mean, there's other parts that they can work in IT. I mean, human capital is more what I'm really focused on. Oh, right here. Oh, sorry about that. So human capital is more what I'm really worried about. I mean, I really don't really care about the $5 or $10 million, because I feel like if you can train 10 kids a year and get them certified, and they still live in the community when they graduate from high school, or if they go to college, that's almost $100,000 a piece. So that's your $1 million a year, and you keep doing that every year, you bring in more and more money into the community. And some of our, as
Can we get both?
I know, right?
Yes, and. But to Eldridge's point, how did it jump from 5 million to 10 million?
I think there were some discussions with some other neighborhood leaders. I wasn't in that discussion. I just heard about it when I came back. I was like, okay, great, but I've been very clear from my end is that, I'm looking at the human capital investment more than I am the financial, the 10 million that's coming to the community.
A Deer Park says they want 50 million. Is that feasible or not feasible?
That's crazy. I have not seen, I've done my research, I have not seen any community ask for that much money.
Well, the Pittsburgh, in that capital B article we referenced, the Delvin Davis, who's the president of the Pittsburgh Neighborhood Association, said that he wanted 35 million, but the developers were only willing to go as high as 10 million.
Yeah, I think he was probably starting high to see where,
right, to
where
negotiate.
he can land.
And I think Adair Park was probably doing that as well, right? You go high and know that your number's going to end up dropping ultimately.
Yeah.
So what do you think the max you all could get out of this is, if you really just kind of push?
We're talking about the tangible dollars, right? Not the human capital. I mean, they're 10 million. I would say about 15 million.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
We said 15 is a solid number.
It's a solid number
to lock in on.
Yeah.
And now I'm just giving out some things that they said in their CBA. So 50 million was one. They would want to add West End in the conversation. Do you agree or disagree with that? And why?
I disagree. And the reason why, right? I mean, West End, they don't come to Mechanicsville and Adair Park. They're getting a big development over there that they're benefiting from. They don't come to us and say, hey, we want them in our CBA.
That's fair.
And we're right next to it. I mean, I can walk to the West End, to buy shoes or catch the train. I mean, they don't think about us.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Another one they said they want affordable housing on the property. Agree or disagree?
I mean, I think there could be some opportunity. I mean, if you don't do the stores, I mean, you can put the affordable housing piece over there.
Or just put it on top of the retail.
Yeah, you could do that too. Yep.
Yeah,
it could be a work-live situation.
Because that's the thing. Because right now I think it's 10% of the property is being used for
At least
retail.
10%.
At least 10%. So I think they were trying to increase the percentage and go add housing on it. And he showed me a document. It was kind of red marked. I think I'm guessing that's from Digital Realty. And they were like, this kind of changes the scope of the whole project. So we're not doing that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm trying to figure out how do we get, because here's the fear that I have. One, I live in NPU-V, so I feel like I can talk on it a little bit as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But I also know we live in Atlanta where we are pro-development.
Yeah.
Very.
And this deal can get done with or without community.
Oh, absolutely. I see it. I fought for stuff in the neighborhood, and we had all kind of oppositions, and it still passed.
It still passed. So
Yeah.
what I would hate is to get this digital data center in the community and we get nothing.
Yep.
That's my fear. I
Yep.
fear that you get nothing because I don't see enough. Although I see a lot of opposition, I don't see enough where I just see there's a world where it could still pass.
Oh,
There's an opportunity to kill it too. I think there's worth for both.
So what I'm hearing from you, and I'm curious your take on this, is what is the balance? And as a neighborhood leader for you, what is the balance between I'm opposed to this particular use of the land, but if it's going to have to be this use, like if no matter what we do, this is going to be the use, how do I negotiate to make it as best for my community as possible? How do
Yeah.
you balance that?
I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, you have Adair Park, who's kind of doing their own thing. If it was me, I would get in because, like you mentioned, I mean, this thing can pass regardless. I mean, you just need a couple big figureheads out there to convince everyone, and the deal will go.
But it has been this has been on the agenda for a while, so there's a reason why it hasn't passed yet, right? And I think it's because there's been a lot of community
I think there
conversation.
was two different. I mean, there was one that Jason wrote, legislation that Jason Dozier wrote to prohibit data center.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think
within a quarter mile or half mile of the rail station.
Yeah, and I think this discussion came up as a second part.
As Antonio asking for an exemption for the property. And honestly, to your point, it has been long, but only to his point, I think it's been long because it is Antonio Lewis.
Yeah.
I think once you get a stronger person on involved, I think it moves along a little bit faster. I just think the person who's fighting for it I don't think Antonio Lewis has the influence to sway it like that yet. I just don't. So I think if this was
What's your take on that?
yeah,
I've seen stranger things. I mean, I've seen where we fought the unhoused thing in the community with the city, and it kept going on and on. I mean, they would table it.
What was this?
The unhoused, we call it the homeless shelter, but the city called it unhoused. So we have this big development that they built in the community. They're still building additional units off of Cooper Street and Fulton Street next to the gas station, right where I-20 is in Windsor. It went on for about a year-ish, and it kept getting tabled and things like that. And I don't think that they had the support, and I think at the last minute, they got the support to take it over the top. So I think it just depends. I think a lot of people are looking at what would my constituents say, or, how would people view me? Will I be the one that, walk around, somebody start throwing eggs at me because I voted for this thing? So,
That's not happening in Atlanta. We're not that crunk.
I've seen Indian.
What's their movement builders?
Yeah, I was from my hometown. Somebody got upset with one of the council people who was the figurehead of the legislation that they passed the data center, and they went by and shot up the house. One of the council people. So, I mean, it's possible. And then I've seen in Phoenix where they were going through the same thing. One of the council people were for it, and someone drove by and threw hamburgers at them. I mean, it was just.
Were they wrapped? Can I catch them?
What hamburger was it?
Right.
Was it Shake Shack? I signed that legislation. So, speaking of legislators, what are your thoughts on how our city representatives have handled this whole debacle?
I mean, what I feel is that, just based off of just having conversations with certain people, is that they didn't really understand the data center, what a data center is. And I think now they're kind of getting caught up to speed. They're talking to people. They're getting some professional advice from folks. I think sometimes they were thinking too, just like most other people. I mean, like I said, this is going to be this is a colo. This is not a massive or big data center that you have on, what is that, over by Rice Street Jail. I can't think of the name. I've been in there a few times. Um, so, so I feel like that it will have an opportunity to pass. I mean, this will bring local employment, even though it's not, on site. I mean, this will bring, tax revenue. This will help with the hospital that they want to build.
How so?
Because you'll have the data center close to the hospital. So I think the data center was going to be at the Met right here. So you'll have reliable connection, and that's good. I mean, you may have an aunt or uncle in there that needs, services like right away.
So how do we know that the hospital will use that data center? So do you typically use
It's
the
a
data center
no-brainer.
closest to
Yeah,
you?
you want to use something very close to you. Yeah, it's a no-brainer because your speed and things like that is more reliable. The further you're away is the less speed you get from an internet and technology standpoint.
When Brendan was on, he said that there are a lot of legacy residents on their side as well. Can you speak to that? Because he did acknowledge that he feels that this is a legacy residence versus what do
Newer.
we call him somebody else.
Well, you called him a gentrifier.
I did call him a gentrifier,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. So, white, black, legacy gentrifier, like, talk to me. Is it on the other side? Are there legacy residents over there based off of your
I
history?
haven't seen any legacy residents on the Brandon side. I mean, tell him to show me. I mean, I haven't seen anybody.
Well, he said he drove some to the NPU meeting.
Also, he's driving people, but he didn't want people to drive people to
Is there a way to mend this
divide.
this divide in the community?
Yeah.
Now, because I've even told him, I told him on the pod, I said, Brandon, I don't know you like that. Everything I know is based off of what I've read and seen like that. But it comes off that y'all are being very disrespectful to people that have been doing this for years.
Yep.
Y'all are not acknowledging the work. Because he even said on here, he said, what did he say?
It's about Johnny Floyd.
Yeah, he said about Johnny Floyd and Columbus War. He was like, yeah, it was somebody in People's Pound, but one person organization. And I knew who he was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
I mean,
come
subliminal,
on. I'm
yeah.
like, dog, you can't say that and respect this organization, the culture of this community. You know what I'm saying? So I was clear that there has been a divide and kind of where they went wrong. But
And he acknowledged that.
he acknowledged it. And even off mic, he's even said, like, because there's a other name that came up.
Oh, yeah.
God of his sin. I'm not going to say their name.
Yeah.
We ain't going to say the wild card on here, but there's another name came up. He even said they like didn't agree with everything that he was saying.
Absolutely.
And he wants to create a middle ground. I'm asking, is it possible and what does it look like?
What does it take?
Even if it means, I'm not even gonna lead the answer. What does it look like? What does it look like?
I would say acknowledge some of the stuff you have said and you've done publicly. I think there could be an opportunity for us to sit down. I mean, we're legacy residents. I can think of other things too that we can get out of this. I've seen it before. I mean, I've been in the community 21 years. I don't plan to go nowhere. I'll probably be here for another 21, 41 years or something like that. So I have a vested interest in the community. Some people come and go, So I think there could be an opportunity. I mean, there's ways that we can look at this. We could say, hey, let's move forward with this because it's going to probably go regardless of what we think anyway. And there's be an opportunity for us to negotiate with the city on other lots and things like that that's in the Dare Park for development. So I've seen that a lot too. It's a give and take. You let us do this. Maybe an opportunity for us to work with the city and have the city sell the lots to a developer, or the county to sell it to a developer and make some development that you want.
So a public acknowledgement. That's one thing I've heard. Is there anything else?
A sit down.
A sit down.
Okay.
If I facilitated a sit down, who needs to be there on that side? and versus your side? Who
I
are the
would
players?
say, I mean, you could do the Brandon. Probably Drew.
Okay.
There's another girl, I can't think of her name. Keita, or something like that.
So pretty much their main characters over
The
there.
ones that built the Adair Park Facebook group.
Okay.
Yeah. And I challenged them to sit down and talk to me, but every time that they, I talked to Brandon before, he'll take something that you say and twist it and add more to it. And I'm like, that's not what I'm saying.
Who else from your side?
My side, it could be Renee. It could be
Yeah.
OC, Fulford. These are
And
legacy
is this
residents.
just Are these all Mechanicsville, or are these some of the other neighborhoods
Oh, this
too?
this is
Because
just
I think it's not just Mechanicsville versus Adair Park.
yeah. And I think, Summerhill's been very clear that they just want to kind of stay out of it.
Is that possible?
I think so.
Yeah, because they said they're so far away
I mean,
from
with
it.
respect to the data center. Now,
Mhm.
generally,
Oh,
I think
because
that's
they're
a
so
question.
far away from
Right.
it. I got it.
Yeah, I would say you could talk to like the Columbus ward. Bring Delvin in it. Bring Johnny Floyd, Sharice Brown. Some of your legacy residents. There's some newer residents too, and there's some other residents too who are in that's been in IT for a long time too, and they could be brought to the meeting too.
Salva, you wanna bring together a meeting,
Yeah,
Salva?
yeah, I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Separate from the data center
Mm-hmm.
friction, what do you think your neighborhoods, your NPU is losing as a result of this divide?
I think we're gonna be fine after this. I've seen this before. I've had disagreements with people in NPU-V, and we may be mad at each other for 6 months, and then we find common issues later on where we become best buds again. So I think once this is over, that we'll all forget all this stuff had happened and things like that. People apologize and people say things, and then we'll focus on other issues. I don't think we're going to be rivals and things like that forever. And I wouldn't even say rivals. It was just having a disagreement. I believe in what I believe in. They believe in what they believe in. And
That's strong.
yeah.
I like to hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if I
mean,
agree, but I
yeah,
like
I
to
don't know
hear
if I
it.
agree, but I'm glad to hear that's
Mhm.
your perspective.
So, one, Brendan did say he kind of made some of the same comments that you made, that a meeting needs to happen.
Mhm.
And I think it needs to happen outside of the NPU-V meeting,
Mhm.
because it sounds like
Yes.
that meeting is already full of tension,
Oh yeah.
already very packed agenda, trying to get stuff done.
Mhm.
I think it just needs to be a CBA negotiation meeting.
I would
think of it more of a
I would say
of rebuilding trust between the neighbors is how I would think of that.
But I think I just want an objective out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Rebuilding trust to me just seems like very,
Nebulous.
too pie in the sky. Like, can we leave out of here? Because I got a copy of their CBA. He gave me what their CBA is. I would love to hear the other CBA. At least out of this, we can say, hey, we might get something that we want if we go forward with this.
I
But
think
then
it's
who was bringing that to Digital Realty?
Because they
Right,
said
so-
Digital Realty is no longer talking to them. So who they're talking to?
who Digital Realty.
They said they're no longer communicating with them. They're
Oh, I
not.
don't know if I ever hear that. I mean, I know they said that about Antonio.
I know they.
He said the
there's-
attorney hasn't been responding to
okay.
him.
I know there was some girl that they brought in. She was an attorney, so I'm not sure
Yes,
she's
They
been talking. I
they
didn't
did
meet with her.
mention. Okay.
Yeah.
Why not? Just curious.
Because no one responded to the email, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to be her word versus mine. We needed more people in the room.
No one responded to the email. As in,
Yes.
you emailed them and then they didn't respond.
No, it was.
They
think it
emailed you to
was-
meet, and nobody.
Yeah,
you
it
tried
was
to
a
bring
group-
people with you.
Yeah, it was a group
Gotcha.
message that went out.
You were about to do a 20 versus 1.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, nobody else responded, so I'm not about to respond, on meeting with the group.
Got it.
I'll be more than willing to meet with them. I have no issue meeting with them.
Yeah. I'm.
But I don't want to be the only one to be
Sure.
sitting there with her, and
I
she
get
bring
that.
out this
Yeah.
list of things that they said, and you
That's
can't.
valid.
Yeah, you can't talk to nobody but her. And I'm like, okay, it defeats the purpose. I
Right.
mean, we're community people.
But my question still remains, all the neighborhoods get together and say, okay, we now agree on a new CBA or an updated CBA that will be pitched to Digital Realty. Who is actually presenting that to Digital Realty?
I don't know.
Man, I
Yeah,
think Digital Realty will accept it from anybody if they know it's on the same. But here's the trick. Here's the tricky thing about it. Y'all can agree with the CBA. Like if I'm a dear partner, I'll come together, create a CBA with you. But I still don't want the data center. Data center. So I'm fighting to stop it. But if I can't stop it,
Right.
this is what I want.
Because I think the conversation is going to go like you mentioned that, you know, you'll get there, you'll sit with them. Well, I don't want the data center. And then you're sitting there talking about, okay, why you don't want the data center, but then you get nowhere with the discussion of the CBA.
Oh, I think they're, I don't want to speak for them, but just based on the conversation we had with Brendan, it seems like they now realize this is sort of a yes and you can be opposed to the data center and still, if it were to be built, make sure that there's a CBA that you're comfortable with.
Oh, they want to do it if or.
And that's why, like,
But do you think that you have to be is your position that you need to be for the data center in order to negotiate a CBA?
I think you probably do, yeah, based off of what,
I can see it from the digital realty side. Like, it's like, why am I even talking to you if you're gonna be testifying against it? And why would I want to give you $15 million after you've been fighting against this the whole time?
Yeah, it's kind of
Well, I mean, it's sort of not restitution. What's the right word? But it's sort of like
reparation.
I know it's sort of like a reparation in the sense
so I'm
of
trying to get a white reparation.
Stop it. We are putting something in your community that we understand is controversial. We understand that there could be a different use for the land. Mm-hmm. Now, we can certainly have a debate about how long will it take for a developer to actually say, we're going to put housing here, right? Mm-hmm. And that's valid. Yeah. But why not have it? Why can you not be opposed to the land use as pitched, but then also say, okay, if you're going to do this, here are the conditions that it must be done under?
I don't think that, personally, me, just being a community organizer for years, I think that can get messy, and what I mean by that is that they're meeting with you, they're saying that they don't want the data center, but here's the CBA terms, and then they're starting to get you involved and saying, well, they're not, we're meeting with them, but we don't want the data center at all. So I don't know. That right there. I just have some mixed feelings when it comes to it.
Okay.
Like I said, I think there's some opportunity. I mean, if this thing's passed, I think there's an opportunity to work with the county and the city.
Sure.
To get some more development.
Would you because we're not getting involved in nothing that we're not doing unwarranted work. Mm-hmm. Would you like us to pull together a meeting?
You can. Yeah, absolutely.
He said you can.
You can, right? That sounds like something I'd say with my significant other. I'm like, I mean, you can.
No,
I mean, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, if you pull it together, I'll meet.
In good faith.
In good faith.
Okay.
It's just been a lot already. I get it.
You're ready for this to be
I'm
over
ready to
and
be
done
over,
with.
and then we can focus on other stuff.
Okay, so what are some of the other things?
Development, more development. I know that I know for Mechanicsville that we're building about 400 new homes, and a certain percentage is going to be affordability. So we're going to need, we're going to need to find space in the neighborhood or adjacent neighborhood to start building, places where people can go, restaurants, grocery shopping, things like that. So, and that's been my biggest project right now, is trying to figure out, working with the city to figure out, if we're going to bring these 400 and something new homes, and say that half of the homes have at least 2 people in them, I mean, that's what, another 600 people in the neighborhood at least.
Yeah.
So we're going to need we'll have the density. We're just going to need some of
The
the product and
infrastructure.
stuff. Yeah. The
So
infrastructure.
you believe in the power of the NPU?
I do.
You
yeah.
do?
Yeah.
There's tension now
Mhm.
between legacy and new residents.
Mhm.
So if an additional 600 new residents come in,
Mhm.
are you concerned about the character of the neighborhood changing? Is there a way to mitigate that?
I thought about that. And we've been having meetings. And the city had something a while ago for legacy residents versus gentrifiers and new residents. And there was a
They
class.
called it that?
Huh.
No,
Oh.
there's
Yeah.
no way they
They
called
didn't
it
call
that.
that. And it was
I'm about to say, dang.
yeah. And it was a workshop. There was a grant that we did. It was a workshop. You went and they took you, the new residents versus the old residents, and they took you out to Stone Mountain, and you did like a retreat for the weekend, like
Oh,
Friday,
okay.
Saturday, and Sunday, and you talked about like neighborhood issues.
Mm.
And I was a newcomer, so I sat on the new people side versus the legacy resident, and that helped me understand the community overall. So we probably need to start
Do one
looking
of
at
those.
bringing one of those back to the
Mhm.
community.
What advice do you have for someone who's moving into a neighborhood that's a
Moving
historic?
to Mechanicsville. Let's just.
No. If you're moving into a historic neighborhood that already has a lot of culture, there are people who are seen as institutions in that neighborhood.
Mhm.
What advice do you have for someone who wants to engage and get involved?
Yeah, I say learn the culture. I mean, there's a lot of, I've seen people move in the neighborhood and want to make change overnight, and it doesn't happen like that. You have to understand the culture, I hear about, kids breaking in cars. We need to stop this now. We need the police. We need to do this. We need to do that. But how about working with the neighborhood to introduce programs so these kids are not breaking it in cars, find them things to do. So it doesn't, you don't move to a neighborhood and snap your fingers and think everything's going to just change overnight.
Yeah. So just take a beat.
Yep.
That's my phrase I've been saying a lot.
Yeah.
Take a beat. But how? How do you do it though? Because think about it. I'm in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
If I moved into Pittsburgh, how do I know Johnny Floyd is Johnny Floyd?
Right.
Get to know them. Get out
But-
No,
there.
but how
how
do I
do you-
even know that he exists and that
Oh,
he's
how
this
do we-
institution
Yeah, like, how do
of,
I-
of a human
yeah, like-
being?
We talking about Johnny Floyd here. Who's the Johnny Floyd of Collier Heights?
Yeah.
Who's
Right.
the, you know what I'm saying? Who's Johnny
I-
Floyd of Vine City? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I would say just, website or something like that. We used to do that in Mechanicsville where we honor our legacy. Or if you go to like the Dunbar Center, you'll see a lot of our old timers on a
On a mural?
On a mural.
Mhm, I've
And
seen
you can
that
see,
there.
and I'm like, oh, that's such and such. And then I'll start asking questions, like people that's been there. I'm like, could you tell me about this person?
So maybe that's one of the things
Mhm.
when you come into a neighborhood and maybe attend that first NPU or that first
Yeah,
neighborhood
join that meeting
association
because the meeting you're gonna know.
Right. Is asking like, hey, who are the pillars in this community that I should know?
Yeah, and like we're having August the 1st, we're having a block party for the neighborhood. I want to start having more of those where you get
For
to
real? Where
meet
you
your
at?
neighbors.
I was literally planning one for August 1st. Where are you having yours at?
On Garibaldi Street between Ralph David Abernathy or RDA
Yeah,
and
See?
Bass Street. So
it ain't. We ain't gonna go there.
I hear people say RDA. I hear people say Ralph David Abernathy. I'm like
Who do you hear- who do
tomatoes.
you say
Don't
are-
even. Don't even.
So, dang, because I was planning one. I ain't even dropped the flyer yet.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, ours is early in the day from 11 to 3. Learned in Mechanicsville you can't have stuff too late. So,
Hey, you barely can in Pittsburgh.
yeah.
All right, let's talk because I want to make off camera because I want to make sure I collaborate and not take away that. But I'm doing one to honor the original owner of this building,
Okay.
Vivian Ellis. So it's gonna be in his name.
Okay.
So targeting Pittsburgh, but we open to the whole NPU-V.
Okay.
You know.
And one of the other things too, and we honored. That's why I was down at City Hall and rode my bike. We were honoring one of our legacy residents, Valenia Henderson turned 106.
Oh, wow.
And we were all going to go over there. I was going to have a birthday party for her, but some things happened where we had to cancel it. But I still went, by there to her granddaughter to make sure that she got all the proclamations, and we're going to send her some things like that. And then her daughter and granddaughter's going to take some pictures, and we can put it out there on Facebook just to let people know.
You talking about right here, cross over the railroad tracks, take that immediate right, then turn left?
Yep.
Man, I love her, bro.
Yeah.
When I say you would not know this lady is 106 years old, I mean,
Yeah.
in her right mind.
Yeah, still sharp.
Cause we Christmas carol every year on Christmas Eve. And we always go to her house. Is my favorite house to stop at. That's crazy.
That's cool. That's really cool.
But
David, anything that we didn't ask you that you feel like we should highlight?
and that you want to get out as far, even if it's about, I think this is a 2-part conversation. On one part, we're talking about this data center, but on the other side, we're talking about how do you get involved with your community, engage in a way that's not disrespectful or conflict, conflicting.
Yeah. I mean, just pulling together. I mean, you have everybody kind of doing their own thing when it comes to this whole data center stuff. And I think everybody's just kind of running around and they're not asking the right questions. I'm a subject matter expert. I mean, I have my doctorate in IT. So when you when you come and start asking questions, because I had Brandon asking me questions, and I'm like, what? And he said, well, he talked to someone over at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech has a
Yeah,
center that focuses on data centers and a number of other.
Yeah, and I had to
related
pull it up,
topics.
and I don't think he asked the right question, so he got a different answer. And I was like, I think this is the way you should phrase it when you talk to someone that's a subject matter expert, because it depends on how you ask the question is what answer you're going to get. And he couldn't really
Spoken
understand
like
it.
a lawyer.
Yeah.
Dr. Holden. But ask questions. Ask the right questions.
Yeah, ask the right questions.
Well, it's something we didn't ask you. You wrote an AJC op-ed. What prompted that? How did that come about?
It was because I felt like that. I felt like there was a lot of misconception of this 713 RDA data center colo data center build, and I just wanted to put from a subject matter expert my opinion about it. So, and they told me that well, I wouldn't say they told me, but I learned during school, once you got your doctorate, sometimes it's good to go out and just speak from a subject matter expert to give them your opinion, especially when you think there's some things that's been communicated incorrectly.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's what prompted, and I was going to do a second one because I've seen some other stuff that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the benefits of having a data center in the area, and that's because the data center that we have now, like I said, on Marietta Street, that feeds everything in the South. So if something happens to that data center, we're doomed. The whole South region is. I mean, your text messages, your phone calls, videos, everything goes through there. And I just thought it was
For one data center?
For one data center. Yep. This is the main exchange for the whole Southeast region. I mean, it's highly unlikely.
Is it well guarded?
I think it
sure.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
It is. Yeah. But you always have those one-offs where somebody tries something and get through it. So,
Have you all had conversations with Digital Realty about how this data center will look? Because I've seen some data centers that look like, it looks like a prison almost, right? Like it just does not look, it looks very out of touch with the community, with that neighborhood, like visually. Have you had conversations with Digital Realty about how you want this data center to look?
I did. Yeah, I did. And I told them I think that they need to get the feedback of the community, maybe some mural on the outside of it, instead of it looking like some white building or some brown building or some green building that they stick up there. So I think, you can probably brand some of the communities on the building You don't necessarily have to call it a data center, but you could put some of the murals from the community to kind of restore some pride. Because it's going to be more than likely it's going to be well guarded anyway. But from a look perspective, you still want to, you want to see something look nice on the building.
Mm-hmm. And if you could choose between a data center or mixed use on that property, assuming there's a binary choice, what would you prefer?
I say data center. Yeah.
Really?
I say data center. Considering
housing,
considering
retail,
we need it to grow.
restaurants.
Yeah. Considering that Atlanta needs it to grow.
Well, you come up from a true IT perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, very.
Yeah.
True expert.
We really need it to grow. I mean, companies are going to look and see. I know if I was a CEO of a company, and I see it a lot, they're going to look and see like what bandwidth or what data centers are in the area. And sometimes that's a determining factor.
What type of companies look at that?
Major companies. I mean, you could look at probably like a Google or AT&T or a big drug company, Eli Lilly's or, I mean.
Anybody that, if you want to just really transform the neighborhood on a larger scale, they're looking for that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So-
Is the hospital, if this data center wasn't there, would it affect the hospital at all? Like, because the hospital coming regardless. So.
Yeah, I think it would be a deciding factor.
The hospital's confirmed.
Yeah, so it's coming.
I don't think it's confirmed, is it? Well, you know how that goes. The city will say it's confirmed, and then they'll back out. Because look how many times the development over in West End, it was confirmed, and then they back away and they confirm.
Yeah, I think Morehouse is pretty adamant about it.
But we know for sure that hospital would need a data center to build. Not even if it's not that one. Does it need a data? Does it have to pull from a data center?
It will have to pull from a data center. Yep, that's where it would get its internet connections. That's where it would get some of its messaging connection because it would have. The hospital will need to talk to
'Cause it's large
911. Yeah, it would need to talk to emergency services. It would need to talk to doctors off site. It would need. I mean, it's going to need a lot of communication. The hospital is, and it may be affiliated with another hospital, so they'll need to be able to talk between the two hospitals or 3 or 4 hospitals.
I just have one request. For me. We're about to put this episode out, and I'm going to be putting out clips. I just need you to get in the comments when these folks start coming for us, talking about they don't want the data center. I just need you to be the subject matter expert you are in the comments, because I'm going to be putting like,
Yeah,
I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I definitely will. But you're still gonna have
Be
people.
some comments.
But then you're still gonna have people that's gonna still, at some point you have to be like, okay,
I get
I'm
you.
gonna break away from it.
I get you. I'm just saying, start it off.
Yeah. Because
So
I think what I've learned politically and being a leader, that there's companies that are paying people just to go out there and just stir up stuff.
You think the anti folks are being paid to be
Oh yeah,
anti?
absolutely. That's political. Yeah.
And they feel the same way on the other side. They
Yeah.
feel like people being paid to be for it as
Right.
well.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to pay me because I have a doctorate in it. So, I see it. I see it. Next time you go to City Hall, see how many out of town plates you see. Just drive through there, and that'll tell you a lot.
Don't you have to put your address down for public comment?
I mean, you could.
Yeah, you just write it
I know
different.
for zoning review board, you have to give them your address.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody's
So-
Ain't nobody
verified.
checking it.
Yeah.
No one's checking it, but that would be pretty bold. I have a question, because you're very clearly pro data center, to say the least. To what extent, if any, do you think there should be regulation about where data centers are built?
Good question.
Yeah, I think
Thank you.
there should be regulations where data centers should be built, but I think too you need to also, and that's probably need to happen from a state perspective, because the states needs to come and tell the municipalities where, how many feet you need to be away from and whatnot. I think that was
You think
part
the
of.
state rather than the counties and the cities?
Yeah, because I was hearing like the Trump administration, I think he was saying that do not, no one makes laws when it comes to AI. Only if you're on his side. He was telling like the Kemps and things like that, I guess their buddies and things like that, they can make the laws, but he doesn't want anybody to make any laws when it comes to data center and AI.
So do you agree or disagree with Dozier's first law of not being able to put data centers so close to transit?
I disagree. Yeah, I disagree. I mean, I think there should have been more research on it before you start writing stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that people do legislations on that they don't get input from community and subject matter experts.
But it went against, I mean, if you think about, and this is, as I say this as someone who used to work for MARTA, land use is the name of the game, right? So the more people you have within a half-mile radius of a transit station, the more likely they are to take public transit. Is that not ideal? Would we not want that in a major city?
Yeah, but ridership is, to me, is low. Yeah.
If ridership is low because there's not enough housing next to transit, then why not make housing next to transit?
Oh, you have a good point.
I don't know if that's the only reason why it's low, but
yeah, but
it impacts it for sure, though.
yeah.
But just for this particular site, just looking at it, I think this would be a better opportunity. I don't think that you'll be able to put it anywhere else in the city and get the reliable connections you need for.
Why you don't think? You don't got to answer this if you don't want to. But why you don't think Dozier came to you? He came out of Mechanicsville. Like, y'all know each other. Why he wouldn't come to you before he write this legislation?
I didn't even know it was written until people start talking about it. I don't know. I think council people should talk to their community first before they write legislation.
And you would, if he had come to you, what would you have said?
I would have asked, what was the reason for doing it, in terms of it, because when I heard it was passed a year ago, because I was just getting caught up on a lot of this stuff. I heard rumbles and things like that, like I said, about data center stuff, but I didn't know there was legislation put in place to prohibit. So I don't know. I think there needs to be more community input before our legislators or our council people start just writing legislation. I see it all too often.
Would you ever run for public office?
The pay's not there.
You can do both. I mean, you can keep your city council is technically not a full-time job.
Well, you still work like full-time.
It's full-time. It's a full-time job.
I'm saying you can have a job, a 9-to-5 job, and be a city council person.
Technically, I just feel like if you're doing it right, if you got a job, one of them you sucking at.
Yeah.
You either sucking at city council or you sucking at your job.
That's your job.
One of them.
Yeah. And that's what I always say. I was
so
wondering.
If it paid more,
well,
let's
say you could be, let's say a city council person makes $250,000. Would you do it then?
Probably take it. Yeah.
A lot of people.
Then you'll have a lot of competition.
Now.
What is it?
I think it's like 99,000.
99 or 95. I think council president's like 104 or something like that.
Yeah. They're gonna get a raise soon. They're gonna get another.
Yeah, but I think they work around the clock. It's
the good ones do.
You work around the clock if you're a neighborhood association president.
I do. Even when I travel abroad, I'm constantly texting.
So that doesn't pay.
That don't pay nothing. You get 99,000.
But that's at my leisure. But then you look at city council. That's more of a large scale. I mean, you have multiple neighborhoods.
You have multiple neighborhoods for sure.
But I guess you have a point.
Holder for Atlanta.
Yeah. Boulder holder for Atlanta.
You already got the slogan.
Different, brighter, bolder holder.
Okay. You heard it here first.
We heard it here first. Appreciate you, Holder, for real.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for this information. I'm not going to lie. This is the first time I will say, never heard somebody so pro AI.
Yeah.
No. Pro data center.
Pro data center.
Yes.
But I also never talked to anybody with a PhD, a doctorate in it. So.
Yeah. Talk to more people. I mean, people that's been in the field for a while and get their views. Because I'm telling you, there's my neighbors, their views, and
Yeah.
that's been in IT,
Can
their
you
views is different.
Can you give our listeners and viewers something they should read? Like, right, okay, so let's say you're coming into this and you're like, I hate data centers, I hate AI. What's something you should read to help you broaden your perspective?
I always tell people, if you're going to read something, at least, and I've learned this in my doctoral program, look for 5 recent articles in the past 3 years, credible authors. Don't look at blogs. And, if you have a question, find credible authors out there and read what they have to say about it. And
Is there
look
a
at
book or is there a particular author or anyone that comes to mind?
there's not a particular author. There's just people out there that write on data centers, that have proven facts, because they'll.
So what platforms then? What publications?
So when I was writing my dissertation and going through my residency program, we had an in-house program that we can research what other people had wrote about the field you're in. And then also I did some Google searches to pull articles. So if there was something I believed in, I had to find so many articles on that topic. And if I couldn't find it, then it's null and void. And, so that's my suggestion, is just, the information's out there on Google. See what people are saying, find credible authors. Make sure that, the information is 3 years or less. Anything over 3 years with technology, it changes. So some of the articles you see from 5 and 10 years ago may say something totally different.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'll take it. Again, I appreciate you. You can tell people where they can find you or get involved for any of the Mechanicsville people.
Okay, all right. We have a Mechanicsville site, Instagram and Facebook. It's called Mechanicsville ATL Neighbor, and you can follow us there.
All right, we'll put it in the show notes. As always, thank you for tuning in to your favorite political podcast, Where the Party At. I'm your host, Saba Long.
And this is Eldridge Washington. See y'all next week.